This is Aspen Public Radio's Nonprofit in the Spotlight. I'm Cornelia Carpenter. Spellbinders is in the spotlight this month and will be discussing the power of stories and connecting generations through storytelling.
Stories are what gives life meaning. There is no meaning to words without putting words into story form. Words transmit information, but if it's in story form, it is much, much more readily absorbed and understood.
Germaine Dietsch founded Spellbinders in Denver in the 1980s.
I started a group that we called Spellbinders clear back in 1988, 89. We're not even certain exactly when it started, to have older people, we called them elders because we didn't like seniors, who were willing to learn how to do storytelling in a very familial way and take that storytelling story into school classrooms.
She said the inspiration for the program came from her background in theater and people in her life.
I think the impetus was my grandmother, who was Southern. So I grew up listening to stories and hearing stories about her background and stories from books, and storytelling was part of my life. And then I decided to get a graduate degree in theater. In the course of getting that degree, I discovered there was such a thing as senior theater. And at that time, my mother-in-law was suffering from dementia, and we were looking for some place to put her. And as I looked at places for her, I thought, it's terrible to lock these people up and discard them and think there's something they couldn't do. So I studied gerontology, and I got a degree in gerontology as well as the degree in theater, and got interested in using older people in storytelling because I took groups that I had worked with in theater from senior centers into elementary schools, and the kids didn't want to have the people do theater. They kept asking them questions and asking for stories of their lives, and I realized the children were fascinated by these gray-haired, wrinkled people.
In 1990, Dietsch and her husband moved to the Roaring Fork Valley, where she created a local chapter of Spellbinders. Today, Spellbinders has grown to 18 chapters in the U.S. and Canada. Run by local storytellers, each chapter brings the storytelling program to students between kindergarten and 6th grade. And Dietsch says she believes kids need storytelling to develop intellectually and emotionally.
Originally, in order to have teachers and principals in schools interested in older people telling stories, they wanted to make this part of the curriculum that would enlarge not only the knowledge of stories themselves, but the vocabulary of the children. And that's, of course, what storytelling does, because language, unless they have the words and the understanding of the structure of story, they're not really very interested in learning to read. So this was part of the reading curriculum usually. My interest is the realization that the development of the heart and the soul is very important to the development of the whole child.
And Dietsch adds, the power of stories goes beyond the classroom or kitchen table.
There is no community without a sense of a story to that community, whether it's a classroom, whether it's a family, whether it is an actual political community. There's a story within that community that holds it together. And it's my belief, and as a matter of fact, it is validated today by the fact that storytelling has been so important in the commercial world. Television, radio, theater, any of it tells a story, or else nobody is interested.
To learn more about Spellbinders and how you can get involved, or to find out more about the nonprofit in the spotlight, visit us at aspenpublicradio.org.